Welcome to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program, where you'll learn weight loss strategies and techniques from real people who've successfully lost weight and kept it off. We invite you to sit forward, get ready to take notes, and join your host and weight loss expert, David Fry, as he interviews today's weight loss guest.
Okay, my very first guest on this inaugural How They Lost Weight podcast is my good friend Joel Peterson. Joel is one of my best friends in the world, and he lost a whopping 155 pounds. That's right. He used to be 320 pounds, but today he's only 165 pounds, and he's as healthy as he's ever been in his entire life. Joel's from Saratoga Springs, Utah, and he's an internet entrepreneur. So here's my interview with Joel.
Hey, Joel, thank you for joining us on this How They Lost Weight program. I appreciate you taking time for us.
Hey, thanks for inviting me here, Dave.
Okay, tell our listening audience where you're from, how old you are, and what you do for a living.
So I am from Saratoga Springs, Utah, born and raised here in Utah. I am 44. I'm 44 now. Yeah, believe it. And what do I do? I'm an entrepreneur. I do stuff on the internet for a living. So,
okay, tell us what your starting weight was, or your heaviest weight, and then what weight you're at right now.
Great. So if I go back in time here, my heaviest weight that I've ever been at is 320 pounds. And my weight that I'm at right now is 165 pounds.
Unbelievable. How long did it take you to lose that weight?
So my story is probably a little unique, but also not unique. So I struggled in life. I was always a skinny guy until I got to about 23, 24, and I started just gaining the weight. I had a really bad diet and everything. So I got up to that 320 pounds, and there was a couple times where I had lost 100 pounds and gained it back, and lost 100 pounds, gained it back, and finally I got to that point where I decided to have gastric bypass surgery. It was just at that point where I thought that was the best decision at the time for me, and I had gastric bypass surgery. And when you have gastric bypass surgery, it kind of gives you like 2 to 3 years of kind of like, you know, you're kind of clear out of the woods. I actually went down to 160 pounds within a year and a half of my gastric bypass surgery. And however, so about 160 pounds, and then I maintained that for probably like 4, 5 years, and then the weight started to kind of come back on a little bit, and then maybe about 9 years later, I found myself at about 200, and I remember I hit 209 again, and I said, that's it. I can't have surgery anymore. I'm not going to get to 320 pounds. I got to do something different. And that's when I changed my whole eating and everything all over again, and been able to get down to 160, 165, and maintain that now for about a year and a half.
So was there an event or something that triggered it for you and motivated you to finally started losing weight and doing something about your weight?
Oh, yeah, huge event. Obviously, I never liked being, I was really self-conscious of my weight, especially because I was morbidly obese. I felt like that I got treated differently. People would always call me the big guy, and, I felt like this felt like I was treated very differently. But the one major event that made me finally decide I wanted to lose weight the first time was I was at an amusement park, and there was a ride that I wanted to get on, and so they have this seat for bigger people. It's got like this orange dot. It says the bigger people sit here. It doesn't say that, but everyone knows that that's where the fat guy sits, right? And so I go to get on this ride, and the guy goes to put the bar down, and he can't get it down. He's pushing on the thing, and for about 2-3 minutes, and finally he's like, "Sorry, sir, you can't ride this ride." And I had to go off and do the walk of shame off the ride. And I just remember that day just crying and just going, that's it. I got to take control. I think that's the first time that before I had the gastric surgery that I decided that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And then the second time was just realizing that I started kind of having some health problems, I was having some dizzy spells, and I saw that weight coming up to 209, and just those memories of what I was when it was heavy before. And it's getting older, and I thought, you know what, I just got to maintain and get back down to that optimal weight. So that was just kind of like, for me, it was more of a shame kind of thing, and the second time it was more of like a healthy, dude, you don't want to live longer in your life, and just be healthy. So
you mentioned your first time you had bypass surgery, but tell us the specific things that you did to lose weight the second time.
The second time, yeah. And that's actually what I'm the most proud of. So I started realizing that, I started doing some research, and I started really kind of figuring out what the current things were. People talking about weight loss, and I decided that I read some really good books and talked really kind of about the low carb, high vegetable, just nutritious, and for me that made a lot of sense to me because I was also focusing on my brain health too, and so I started paying attention to the right kind of oils to eat and stuff. So I really, honestly, when I first kind of got started, I was focusing more just on my health, not so much like I wanted to lose a ton of weight. And so I started going on really low-carb diet and eating a lot of healthy proteins. And I even, I try to eat grass-fed meats when I can and healthy salmon and fish. And I eat a lot of nuts. And I just went on this, healthy oils, avocado oil, olive oil. Stopped eating bread, pretty much just eliminated all that bread. If I have a hamburger, I have a lettuce wrap hamburger, So I went really low carb and high protein, just really kind of started watching. And then the biggest thing is sugar. Pretty much just eliminated sugar from my life, including fruit juices and a lot of sugary fruits and stuff, too much, and so I really kind of limit myself on that. And boy, for me, that worked wonders, and I had a lot more energy, and the weight just melted off. And that combined with some, exercise and that really, really got me to be able to maintain where I've been at. So,
do you feel like you had a support system, or what did you use to have support along your weight loss journey?
I'm kind of a self-motivation kind of guy. So support system, of course, everyone around me supported me. Did they always, take the temptations away? I wouldn't say that. But people have always been supportive. I've never had anyone that's negative on my weight loss. I am pretty self-motivated, and so I think that was kind of I kind of felt like I was my own support system. But of course, the people around me supported me, but I wouldn't say specifically for me they were my, help me keep going in the system. But I do understand how important it is for many people to have a good support system around you. Like, I guess if my wife had donuts sitting around the house all day or something like that, then that would be a tough thing. But
how do you feel like you've managed to keep the weight off for so long?
You know what? I think for me, it's just looking back and having a strong why, like why I wanted to lose it, how good it makes me feel now. And I think really just, once you start to do something and you do it for simple things over a long period of time, it just becomes that habit, and that becomes part of you. You just want to do that. And do I have days where I still, crave something? Yeah, of course I do. But I feel like my better eating has overcome and become part of my being, if that makes sense.
What mental adjustments did you have to make to lose the weight?
Oh, yeah. That's the mental adjustment, basically, I would say is I had to change the way. First of all, I had to change the way of thinking of how everyone out there eats, right? And throw away the side things of, like my kids would say, "Oh, Dad, what about?" I remember they'd say, "Dad, what about the food pyramid? The government says you should eat this," and throwing out kind of those extraneous things and that I think are kind of like bad influences on people telling us what to eat. And then I had to mentally prepare and just realize that I can do this. and just really stay focused on it. And I can share that in a little bit, but planning in that, but mentally, I just had to have that focus. I guess maybe focus is the word I'm trying to get at.
How do you control your temptations right now to overeat or eat the wrong foods?
So here's the thing. For me, it's really important that I am always prepared, because what I found is I actually eat a lot. Believe it or not, I snack a lot, and I just snack on the good things. I snack on what I've chosen to eat. Low carb snacks, what I mean is like not the kind of crap you buy at the store that says like gluten free, all that kind of stuff, but like nuts and whole foods and that, and I eat cheese and just things that are, I always make sure that I have something that can keep me satisfied. And I drink a lot of liquids, and I just make sure that I keep, because if I don't have something to snack on that's healthy, then I start craving a donut or start craving the bad stuff.
You're listening to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program.
Can you tell us specifically what type of snacks you eat? Be specific.
Yep. So I have in my pantry, I have pistachios, I have cashews, I have macadamia nuts, I have string cheese. I do eat a lot of jerky as well. I'm a little careful of the jerky I eat because there's a lot of sugar out there, but I eat jerky. I found these crackers that are made with almond flour, and I will eat those, and they're really low. Again, I do really low carb, so I'll eat a lot of salsa, because salsa is like, you can almost have an unlimited amount of salsa these days, with what. And so those are kind of my go-to snacks. I do a lot of nuts and that, and a lot of, and then I also like bell peppers too. And I'll grab some bell peppers and grab some veggies every once in a while, carrots. But hummus is a good snack. Usually have that in the fridge. Dip my bell peppers into it. So those are specifically a lot of things that I'll snack on. And I do have I have found some protein bars that I really like, that are not like they're the Quest bars. I don't know if you've seen those, but I do snack on it. Probably have at least one of those a day. So. What
kind of exercising do you do right now?
So I swim, and I'd like to say I swim 5 days a week, but I don't. I'll probably get out once or twice a week. But I will ride my bike, and I'll go walking, and I'll kind of go through spurts when I do more exercise and then do less exercise. And, of course, I always feel better when I do more, but it definitely is a part of my weekly routine.
Okay, you mentioned you're on type of a low-carb eating plan, but I want you to be very specific on what you eat right now. For instance, what do you eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? Do you have any dessert alternatives? Be specific so that other people might be able to replicate what you're doing.
So I wake up in the morning. I'll make breakfast. I will usually have. I found some turkey bacon that's pretty minimally processed that I'll eat. I will have. Sometimes I'll have mozzarella cheese with balsamic vinegar on it. I found balsamic vinegar has been a great condiment for me. I'll have some bell peppers. I'll have some hummus. Sometimes I'll have a protein shake just for breakfast, and along with some vegetables. That's usually what I'll eat for breakfast. Lunch, I'll eat a lot of lean meats and, high-quality meats. Usually make lettuce-wrapped sandwiches. I eat a lot of mustard as a condiment. I've kind of found that mustard's been a great condiment. You can find it. Usually it's like meats and vegetables. That's pretty much and nuts is a lot of my meals. And then kind of do the same thing for dinner. I really stay away. I don't eat pastas. I don't eat, a lot of sugary stuff. And then for desserts, that's a really important thing because I still crave a dessert. But I've found that there are a lot of great dessert recipes out there that use almond flour, and you can just use very minimal amounts of, I use a lot of stevia. I stay away from even honey and those types of things, or just add just a little bit. into that. But we found some great chocolate chip cookie recipes. Oh, as far as dessert, I do eat dark chocolate. And I'll take something that's 70% or higher, dark chocolate, and I'll have a good square of that. And it's amazing how that'll just satisfy me right there. I eat a lot. Oh, I do eat a lot of coconut.
I know that you're married and you have children. So how do you integrate your eating plan to accommodate the rest of your family?
Oh, easier said than done, but there's many times where I will make a little bit different. It's tougher, so I'll make a meal, or my wife will make a meal, and if it's something I can't eat, or something that if we make one that we want to eat but the kids don't, we used to have to have some alternatives. So we're kind of slowly integrating to them what we eat, but sometimes they resist us a lot. I just make sure that I always have something really simple that I can pull out of the fridge and make for myself. So if my wife's made a meal that I can't eat, I have something else I can just quickly grab out of the fridge, some meat, some mustard, and lettuce, and boom. And not make it because we don't want to spend a ton of time in the kitchen making all these, double meals. Nobody likes to do that. But it's just, making sure you have some quick alternatives to turn to.
So what kind of supplements do you take, if any?
Yeah. So I take a lot of vitamins and take a lot of supplements. So I take an iron every day because I need that. I take a lot of oils. I'm really big into fish oil. Make sure I take 1,000 milligrams of something that has a DHA in it. I take turmeric. I take alpha. I can't even say some of them. I've got a whole regimen of vitamin supplements that I take. Mainly, a lot of them I take for brain health. That's kind of my biggest thing, and I do feel overall better when I do take my supplements over a period of time. So,
looking back now on your health journey, what would you do differently?
Boy, what would I do differently? I think at a lot younger age, I wish I would have known and be educated in how bad our diets are and what kind of crud I was putting into my body before and how it really affects us later in life. So what I would do differently is I would have just eaten less sugar, and for me, because I'm such a low-carb guy, I would have started low-carb a long time ago. And I always wondered to myself, would I have had to have the gastric bypass surgery if I would have changed to a diet like this? And you never know. You can't go back and turn the clock back. But I know that the second time around, it really, really helped me. Because I do know a lot of people that have gained a lot of weight back, even after a weight loss surgery.
So tell me, what are your three best pieces of advice to our listeners who are on their weight loss journey?
So my three pieces of advice. Number one is you have to have the big why, the big reason, that big motivator for you to want to lose weight, or you'll never lose it. You just have to have that reason. Bigger than that, when it comes around New Year's Eve and everyone makes that resolution, it's that one that keeps you in the game. And the second thing is plan. You really need to plan so that you don't get caught in a situation where you're going to make a bad choice. So you need to have healthy snacks around. You need to make sure that you have the food that you need to eat, like when you travel and that you just plan and you make your plan to eat. And my third choice is when you're faced with a choice where you are not prepared, I always tell people, make a better bad choice. So if you've got to eat something that's not going to be super healthy for you, make a better bad choice. So if you got to have that burger, order it without the bun. Order it with the lettuce wrap. Get the mayo out of it. You just do mustard instead. So you can always plan, but you can also make a better bad choice as well.
Well, to our listeners, I'd like to share with you that Joel Peterson is one of my very, very best friends in this world. And so I know a lot about his weight loss journey, and I've seen it happen over the years, and especially his second attempt. I'll tell you that when Joel lost his initial weight and then went back up a little bit, he had this big tire hanging around the middle part of his body. And And I never knew whether it was just skin or fat, and I always just assumed it was skin, and he couldn't do anything about it. And then Joel read a couple books. One of them was Wheat Brain, and a couple other ones, and he started this new diet plan where he got completely rid of all wheats, the one that he just mentioned, and his weight just started to drop. And if you looked at him today, he looks every bit the same and normal as a 165-pound person. And it has just been absolutely stunning to watch his transformation. And so, Joel, I just want to congratulate you. Not only do I congratulate you, but I really respect you for taking control of your life and having been able to keep your weight maintained for so long, because people who are morbidly obese have a lot of mental problems with trying to lose the weight. It's a lot of it is mental, and you've been able to really harness that and control it and overcome it, which a very small fraction of people have ever been able to do. And so I really respect you for that. So thank you today for sharing time with us and sharing your story.
Thank you, Dave.
I want to thank Joel Peterson for coming on our podcast today and sharing his experience with us. Let's review a couple of takeaways from what he taught us. Number one, he said, have a why. Have a big enough reason that will motivate you to always stay on your eating plan, especially when the times get tough. Number two, plan your meals. He said you really need to have a plan so you don't get caught in a situation where you're going to make a bad choice. And number three, if you're going to make a bad choice, make a better bad choice. Sometimes you're in situations where not many of the foods are great, but you do have a choice between some foods that are healthier than others. And so he tells us, make a better bad choice. Now, I want to invite you to go over to howtheylostweight.com. I have a free ebook over there called 10 Eating Rules for Permanent Weight Loss Success. And these are the rules that I use in my own eating maintenance plan and the rules that I used for losing weight. And so it's free. It's about 70 pages. There is a lot of fantastic information in there. There's a lot of graphics in there. It's called 10 Eating Rules for Permanent Weight Loss Success. Go on over to howtheylostweight.com and download that for free. Thank you for being on the inaugural How They Lost Weight podcast. And remember, losing weight isn't easy, but it's absolutely worth it. The only loser is the one who gives up. So don't give up. Don't quit. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program. We hope you were inspired today and discovered a new tip, technique, or strategy to help you on your journey to lose weight, get fit, and stay healthy for life.